I'm CEO of Allica Bank. I'm also on the board of World Remit, which is a payments fintech. So working sort of both banking and fintech more widely. And yeah, I guess I've worked in financial services for probably 15, 16 years now. I sort of really like the fact that you can help sort of move the economy forwards in general via doing good things in finance. So, for example, with Allica Bank, we are focused on SME customers. The piece we focus on is about a quarter of the UK economy. And if you can really help those customers, you can really help move the economy forward, which I think in this kind of post-COVID world is super important for all of us. I guess if I kind of look at the two firms I'm involved with, Allica and World Remit, they both are serving quite different customers. So you've got your business borrowers for the Allica, you've got your typically migrants sending money around the world with World Remit. I guess what's the common theme? Both companies really have two things. They have people and they have data. They have no branches, they don't make fridges. Really their product is data, i.e. moving money around the world or lending money to people, and that really is represented in digital data. So yeah, I think historically people have thought about financial services very much through a lens of branches and paper and such like, and that's the past. I mean, ultimately, as I say, going forwards, you've only got two things if you're running most financial services companies these days. You've got the people that manage risk or do engineering or whatever, and then you've got the data that is the product. So, I mean, data is like fundamental to pretty much everything in financial services right now. And massive believer in the need for strong skills around that at all levels of the company. Data point of view, I think it depends on which institution you are. So I think if you're coming from a incumbent that's been around for many decades, you've often got quite a lot of challenges around the infrastructure and the siloing of data, as well as the culture and the skills of use of data. I think if you're a newer company, you hopefully have less of those challenges, but they still exist. How do you build the right skill set in data engineering and in data analytics? How do you ensure there's good join with the people in, say, sales function or the marketing function or the risk function? And how do you make sure data doesn't get siloed as you build out your kind of technology estate? So you've got that single view of the customer, you've got the ability to really create good models that kind of sit across all of your data. So I think you've got an advantage if you're newer, because you don't have the stuff you did in the 1990s and how do you solve for it. But I think ultimately the challenge is the same as to how do you get the best use out of the data via having it in a non-siloed way and creating leverage on it via machine learning or similar. And how do you have the culture and the skills to actually ensure you get best use out of the data? So yeah, I think those are kind of the key things I always think about. Yeah, I guess for me, right, most of the machine learning AI use cases are sort of in the foothills at best of the sort of Himalayan mountains. There's a lot of sort of innovation theatre that goes on around sort of some sort of fancy AI use case. But I mean, for example, one is Revolut, which is for me one of the most data-driven companies in financial services in the world. I mean, the word AI was never used, right? You had some pretty strong data scientists, but generally you don't have to use really fancy neural net or deep learning models to solve most problems, because you can get a long way without that. So I think there are some areas like fraud, in particular fraud modeling, and some aspects of credit risk modeling they've got more sophisticated applications of machine learning. But I mean, I guess over the next 10 years, I expect to see that progress quite a bit from the foothills to at least base camp. I mean, I think people always overestimate the progress on quite how far this stuff goes, how fast. But I do think there's sort of, as people ensure data is not siloed and captured across a huge range of different forms, the ability to apply more sophisticated techniques around AI will sort of move a lot of things forwards in terms of automation and decision abilities. So yeah, I'm pretty hopeful that will move from sort of what is probably quite a overhyped and slightly nascent state right now to actually much more of an embedded reality. Where the industry is and where it can go, I think are so vital. Because when you look at COVID, I guess what's COVID really done for the world is probably accelerate the need for digital presence and data skills by, I don't know, 3 to 5 years from where it was pre-COVID. But equally, you've got clearly that creates challenges, imbalances in supply and demand of talent, of skills, demands on legacy infrastructure, a whole range of stuff, right? That's super interesting to talk through. So I love these sessions, the chance to explore with kind of other industry professionals some of those kind of pretty key topics of today.
Yeah, and I guess on a similar note, what do you kind of hope the people that come to view your session are going to take away from it?
Yeah, I'm similar. Well, if I can provide some sort of insight on those topics, I don't pretend to be the master at all, right? But I've certainly worked at a few companies and seen some of the highs and the lows and the good and the bad. So yeah, if I can add some insight and people can take some stuff away, that's always valuable.